dear Heavenly Father, which art in heaven. Oh Lord, dear God, we want to give you thanks and praise once more for bringing us to another week of honest toil and honest labor. Lord, not by our strength, oh God, but by your strength and by your guidance and by your protection, we were able to make it through the week. And Lord, we just ask you, dear God, help us, oh Lord, to see our need for thee, oh Lord, and to take the time out to spend time with thee. Quiet time which is needed to study the word of God, to draw nigh to thee, for thy coming is near. And Lord, we just want to thank you for this ministry, that we're able to present the truth and also to live by the truth. Lord, let us ask you, God, to forgive us, oh dear Lord. Forgive me, oh, if we are committing the sins, known and even unknown. And Lord, we just ask you, Lord, please, to continue to abide with us. And Lord, as we come before you through this moment, we pray to you, oh God, for healing. Healing for the soul, healing for the mind, and healing also for the spirit, oh Lord. For many times, oh Lord, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Strengthen us, oh God, that we may be able to submit ourselves to thee daily as we pray and seek thy face early morning, oh dear God, and before we go to bed. But Lord, many times, oh God, we have been playing with sin and thinking that it is well. But help us, oh God, to gain victory over the sins which easily beset us. Oh Lord, you have come to cleanse the earth of sin and to show fallen mankind the way to God. For the only thing that is separating us from God, the only thing that's separating us from God is sin. And you are that link. You are the master link which brings mankind before the throne as you intercede in the most holy place at this time. Forgive us, O Lord, if we have sinned against thee. Forgive us, O God, if we have been spending time with thee. Forgive us, O God, if we have done anyone wrong, or even refused to even help someone in need. For Lord, you said, many have seen the poor in need and hold back their hand from helping. For Lord, you said, many are in prison and they've never been visited. Someone may be thirsty, but I never give them drink. For Lord, you say, we have done it unto the least of thee, have done it unto thee. Whoso done it unto the least, have done it unto thee. And I ask you, God, please, to help us to give us a change of mind and a change of heart. But first, oh God, help us, oh God, to see our need for thee on a daily. For Lord, there's a 50-50 chance for us to even leave home and to even to return. Many even a 50-50 chance for us to even go to bed and even wake up. But Lord, you are merciful. For help us, oh God, to see that each day is a blessing and a chance. It is a blessing to be alive, oh God. And there's also a second chance, oh God, to get our lives right with thee. For Lord, there shall come, O God, when we shall see thee face to face. Those who may have seen thee face to face in love, but many may ask for more time, O God, but the time is now for us to see our need for thee daily. So all I ask of thee, O Lord, forgive us of our sins. Help us, O God, not to return as a dog to his vomit. But help us, O God, to live uprightly and in thy tabernacle, to dwell in your presence now and forevermore. Lord God, I just pray for those who are viewing online, first-time viewers. So just please be with us and abide with us and help us, oh God. Give them a change of mind and give them a change of heart. And those who are in this pilgrim, who are in this journey of striving and waiting of thy second return, help us, oh God, to hold fast and to steadfast, oh God, for many times, oh God. We may be thirsty, but we need thirst of thy water. Help us, O God, to wash us and cleanse us. Now, I pray, humbly and prayerfully. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Happy Sabbath, guys. Thank you for joining us. And and
Shabbat Shalom.
I have something. I'm practicing. I have a new hymn that I've been practicing, and I was gonna share it.
Amen.
It is the hymn is Jesus is all the world to me. So I'm gonna play it and sing it with me if you know it. And may your hearts be blessed.
Amen.
Say thank you to Brother John Moe for such a wonderful special selection.
Amen.
On this blessed Sabbath, we haven't had a special selection in a while. So this morning, we'll be studying the Word of God this morning. And I pray that this morning that your heart will be blessed with the Word and that you will truly see our need for a new transformation in the gospel. Is my prayer. I know yesterday night we had a Bible study very similar to the sermon this morning. When we studied this morning is very similar to the Bible study we had last night. There's a little bit of a different approach I will be taking this morning in our sermon this morning. The sermon don't really have a title to a certain extent, but if you want to give it a title, you can give it the gospel of the kingdom / social justice. That could be your if you want to get that way, you can call it the gospel of the kingdom, or you can call it social justice. or you can just call it the character of love. So there's so much different names that came to my mind when I was thinking about the topic for the sermon this morning. I didn't go to a specific title, so I guess it's
To the hearers.
it's to the hearers. You can give it the title however you see fit. So this morning, it is my hope and aspiration with everything that's going on in the world. As a Christian, I believe there is a stand that we must take, and there is a practical application that must be done as a Christian, because what we're seeing right now, as we spoke in time past, is that the world is leading, and then Christians are following. That is a pattern right now. We are no longer the head, no, we're now becoming the tail. Whatever the world is doing, then you see the Christian come behind it and then follow it. You don't really see the Christians are the forefront of driving the force, and in the world following behind it because this is true. And I believe this is God is calling us to be the head, not the tail, as Christians. And God told us to be we are of the world, but we're not we're in the world, but we're not of the world. So even in that aspect also, there is something for us also to do as Christians when we even in the world right now. This morning, before we get to our sermon, I pray that you may open your mind and your heart, that you may take this little trip with me, and that you may really see the perspective I'm trying to drive this morning in regards to the gospel of the kingdom. So if you can please bow your head and close your eyes, we'll go ahead and have a quick short word of prayer, and then we'll go straight into our sermon this morning, the gospel of the kingdom. Let's bow our head for prayer. Dear most loving Father, Lord, this morning, Lord, indeed it is a privilege, Lord, that you have allowed us once again, Lord, to get together here to study your word, Lord. As we about to go deep into your word, Lord, we pray that you may please open our heart and our mind, Lord, that we may receive a message from above, Lord. We pray that you may speak to me through your people this morning and help this message, Lord, to be able to be applicable to myself first, Lord. And then as others who maybe hear this message, Lord, they may see they need, Lord, to apply this thing in their life also, Lord. We pray that you may please, Lord, be with the hearers online and also be with us that are in person. Forgive us all our sin, Lord. Let us in a portion of the Holy Spirit, Lord, that will not consume us, Lord. And give us a clean heart, Lord, and you help us to see our need and see our sins, Lord, for what it is, Lord. And seek you in prayer for victory, Lord. We pray all this in, Lord, not because we're worthy, Lord, not worthy, Lord. But we pray according to the charity of Jesus Christ. And we're just as prayer this morning to the most holy place of the heavenly sanctuary, where you are great high priest. In Jesus Christ's name we do pray. Amen. In Christ's object lesson, in the right road. Those who wait for the bridegroom's coming are to say to the people, behold your God, the last ray of merciful light, the last message of mercy to be given to the world is a revelation of his character of what? Of love. The children of God are to manifest his glory. In their own life and character, they are to reveal what the grace of God has done for them. The light is the sun of righteousness, is to shine forth in good works, in the word of truth, and deeds of holiness. Christ's object lesson, 4:15, paragraph 5. The last revelation of God is looking for his people is a revelation of his character of love. That's the last message. A revelation of what? Of his character of what?
Love.
Of love. Now we studied even since last night, even a little bit this morning in our Sabbath school this morning, that the Pharisees had an issue. We started to cover it last night, and we covered it a little bit this morning, that the Pharisees had some type of issue going on with the gospel, and then with how they view the gospel and what they was expecting the gospel to be. And then I want us to, in an open, free, kind of give you some of those perspectives. What do you guys think were some of the Pharisees' problems? We covered that yesterday night, and we covered some of that this morning. I'm open the floor right now to you guys. You guys can comment swiftly. Go ahead.
Their views on people, like what standards they put on people.
Their views on people. That's a
It
perfect
was
thing.
broke.
Who?
Poor.
They were poor?
No, you see the view that they had of
Yeah.
other people, especially Jesus.
Yeah.
He was poor. He was poor.
Okay. Go ahead,
It's
Cal.
like when she was talking about their views of people, like the value they could put on people,
Mhm.
different people. So whether you were like rich and you were
Mhm.
able to give back to like the church or something,
Mm-hmm.
or whether you were poor and weren't able to give more.
Amen. Anybody else? Well,
So like they had the view that Christ was going to establish like this earthly kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
and and that Christ would also release them from the yoke. So they thought that, oh hey, we're teachers of the law, so we're doing everything that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And when Christ comes, our oppressors will no longer oppress us.
Mm-hmm. That's true too. So they had all those different views in regards to the gospel, and then there was a few other stuff they had views also. They had it is my prayer this morning that we'll kind of go into those things this morning. And then as we start, let's open our Bible to Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5. We're going to start Matthew chapter 5. And then we're going to go drop down to verses 20.
Amen.
Anybody else want to read that for me?
What verse?
Verse 20. Matthew 5, verses 20.
And it reads, "For I said unto you that expect your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees. He shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven."
Now, the Bible told us now in Matthew chapter 5, verses 20, it's speaking to us here, even to the people at the time. It said, unless our righteousness exceed that of the Pharisee, there is no way none of us here will enter the kingdom of God. So, whatever the Pharisees did, unless that our lifestyle exceed that of them, there is no way we will see the kingdom of God. Now, the question we have, we kind of briefly covered a total point in there, here and there, about what the Pharisees, what the righteousness of the Pharisees were. We mentioned some of those things this morning, but there was something else that was more deeper than that the Pharisees did or says, that was even greater than that God said, or Jesus said here, that except our righteousness exceeds that of the Pharisees, we in no way enter the kingdom of God. And I want us to drop down now to Matthew chapter 23. Matthew chapter 23. And we're going to see what happened with the Pharisees. What was it that the Pharisees did that was wrong?
Verse?
Verses 1 to 3. Matthew chapter 23, verses 1 to 3. Somebody can read that for me.
Then spake Jesus to the multitude and to his disciples,
Mhm.
saying, The scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat.
Mm-hmm.
All therefore whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do. But do not ye after their works, for they say and not do.
Pause.
And do not.
So the Bible tells us that except our righteousness exceed that of the Pharisees, there is no way we will enter into the kingdom of God. Because what the Pharisees did, right, they told you what must be done. But then, them themselves, they didn't do it.
That's what was hard.
They will preach about the love of God. They will preach about the kingdom of God. They will preach about Christ coming on the earth. They will preach about the prophecies. But they didn't do anything. They didn't do nothing. So all that they were preaching, they didn't apply nothing that they preached. And then the Bible tells us that now, that except our righteousness today, that are living today, exceed, go beyond what these people did about say and not do, there is no way me and you will ever enter into the kingdom of God. So now I'm going to tell you now, what were they supposed to be doing? What were the Pharisees were supposed to be doing that they did not do? But they say they should have done, but they did not do it. That we should not follow the same example as the Pharisees did also, to not just say and not do. Now we're going to take us to a story, the story of the Good Samaritan. Let's go to now Luke chapter 10. Let's go down to Luke chapter 10. As we did our, foundation, we see that the Pharisees' problem was that they will say a good thing. They will preach a good gospel, but whatever they preach, that thing was one year after the other. And then we're going to jump down to verses 25. Luke chapter 10, verses 25 to 37, because the whole parable we're going to read. And then I want somebody to, with a strong voice, Brother Sam, lead us out on that one. Luke chapter 25. Luke 10, verses 25 to 37.
Luke 10.
Luke 10, yeah. 25 to 37.
What verse again?
25 to 37. I might stop you reading there throughout the thing, but
And behold, a certain lawyer stood up and tempted him, saying, Master, what shall I do to inherit eternal life?
so now this is a lawyer. You would call him like a rabbi, or I guess a teacher of the law. Right?
He said unto him, What is written in the law? How readest thou?
Now think about it, right? Jesus told them, okay, what is written in the law? How do you read that law? Because what happened was they would tell people stuff, right? But they didn't do. So now when Christ is talking to them, he's like, okay, what is written in the law? How do you read that law when you read it? How do you view it? How do you apply what you read? When you read these things, like, what is the application for this thing that you are reading? For this thing that you are learning? Now continue reading.
And he answered, said, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy strength, and with all thy mind, and thy neighbor as thyself.
Mm-hmm.
And he said unto him, Thou hast answered right. This do, and thou shalt live.
Pause. Now he's quoting like what the scripture says, like what he's reading, what he's understanding. He's saying, love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. But God is telling him, now, okay, well, you said that, now do it. This do, right? And thou shalt be what? Thou shalt live. Because what they was telling people, but they weren't doing it. So now Christ is telling you, he asked him Christ said, well, you telling me, now this is what you're supposed to be doing. Now continue reading.
Verse 29.
Mm-hmm.
But he, willing to justify himself, said unto Jesus, And who is my neighbor?
Pause. What do you think he said, God? He told Jesus, who is my neighbor? Why do you guys think that he said to Jesus, who is my neighbor? Because the Bible tells us in verses 29 that he's trying to what? Justify what? Justify himself. Because the reason why he's trying to justify himself because he knew that he wasn't doing it. So now, because he wasn't doing it to justify himself, he told Jesus, well, who's my neighbor?
Yeah.
Because I'm supposed to love them, but I don't know who my neighbor is. So how do I love somebody that I don't know if they're my neighbor? So he's trying to justify himself because he actually now that when Christ is he comes in front of Christ is exposing his sin. He's trying to justify himself. Now, well, okay, who's my neighbor? So now continue reading.
And Jesus answering said, A certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho,
Mm-hmm.
and fell among thieves,
Mm-hmm.
which stripped him of his raiment, and wounded him, and departed, leaving him half dead.
Mm-hmm.
And by chance there came down a certain priest that way, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And likewise a Levite, when he was at the place, came on, looked on him, and passed by on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
But a certain Samaritan.
Pause here. Now, let's focus on for a second. Now, these guys, they were the religious leaders. So a guy by a wayside, this guy is beat down, and then he's wounded. He got whooped, he got jumped, whatever you want to call it, right? He's bleeding. He's half dead on the side of the street. Now, them boys are on a mission, going to what? Wherever they want to go to. Well, we know that there was the Levites in the rabbi. They was going to go most likely to the temple, right, to do the work of God. And we kind of spoke about that last night, yesterday, right? They saw the guy. They see that the guy is in need, but they had a mission. They had somewhere to go, so they continued their journey and left the man by the wayside. And we spoke about this last night. Like This guy was going to meet God in the temple, but God was not in the temple. God was right there on the guy that was on the side of the road. That's what God was. God was right there in the side of the road. They left God to go to a temple where God was not there. But in their mind, they're doing what? The work of God. They're trying to accomplish the work of God. Can't talk about what the Bible said, what the study this morning was talking about. If you think that this is how the thing's going to happen, and you so focus on these things, you will miss God. Now, these guys, they were sincere about doing the work of God. They're on the way, they're in the mission, trying to accomplish the work of God. But the person is on the side of the road, which is where God is. They passed God and went to a temple where God was not. Looking for God. Continue reading.
Verse 33. But a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion on him, and went to him and bound up his wounds, pouring in oil and wine, and set him on his own beast, and brought him to an inn, and took care of him. And on the morrow, when he departed, he took out 2 pence, and gave them to the host, and said unto him, Take care of him, and whatsoever thou spendest more, when I come again, I will repay thee. Which now of these 3 takest thou, was neighbor unto him that fell among the thieves? And he said, He that showed mercy on him. And said Jesus unto him, Go and do thou likewise.
This is it. Christ is telling him, making it plain to them who is his neighbor right there. And one thing I want us to kind of get from this thing is that I'm pretty sure this journey from Jericho to Jerusalem was not a short. I'm not sure how short the journey was or how long it was. I forgot the research on that. I meant to do the research on that, but I forgot to do it. I'm not sure how long or how short it is, but I'm pretty sure it's not like a short journey. It's probably a good little distance. So this guy that was on the guy that was the Good Samaritan, he was on the donkey, and then he said that he got off this donkey and put the person that was, and he bounded his wounds. And whatever with alcohol, whatever he may be, bandage, whatever at the time, using his medicine he had, and put the guy on the donkey, and then help the guy there. He showed you that where was the person that was sick at? Walking or on the donkey? On the donkey. I'm gonna make a little speculation. I think possibly those guys, the priest or those guys, maybe they might was on the donkey too. They might also done. We don't know. I don't know how long the journey. I should have done my research, but I forgot to do it. Especially with among these, but I have to go quick to get through it. You know what I'm saying? So it shows you that even in that aspect, there's an application to it also. The person that is sick is the person that's on the donkey. So technically, the Pharisees, those guys in the priest, they were sick too. Because what, they didn't know Christ. So my thing is that, okay, when we read these stories and we see the application of these things, as Christians, which side are we on? Are we like the Levites? Are we like the priests? Or are we like the Good Samaritan? When we think about our own self, our own heart, which one are we? I know Jumbo is, this is it's a Bible study, but I take your point. I take that, but we'll.
No, question. I just want to ask you. You made a comparison with the guy on the donkey. Something I want to do that.
Because we were trying to say that the person that was sick, that's who needed help to be on the donkey to be carried. The Pharisees, they was on the donkey probably just dropping by. They was probably sick spiritually.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, in the story, in the story of the Good Samaritan, Christ illustrated the nature of true religion. He showed that it is consistent, not in system, creed, or rights, but in the performance of loving deeds in bringing the greatest goods to others in genuine goodness. In the story of the Good Samaritan, Jesus gave a picture of himself and his mission. Men had been deceived, bruised, and robbed and ruined by Satan and left to perish. But the Savior had compassion on his helpless condition. He left his glory, came to our rescue, he found us ready to die, and undertook our case. He healed our wounds, recovered us with his robe of righteousness. He opened us a refuge of safety and made a complete provision for us at his own charge. He died to redeem us and point his own example. He said to his followers, "These things I command you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another." Now think about it, right? When the Good Samaritan saw that the guy was in the ground, he took him on his donkey. He took him to somewhere to get to be helped. When he got to the place that the guy needed help, verses 35 says, "And on the morrow, when he departed, he took out 2 pence and gave to the host and said unto them, Take care of him, and whatsoever thou spendest more, when I come, I will what? I will repay." Sin that Christ done. He paid penalty for our sin and also for our future sin. He said, whatever sin you will commit in the future, my blood will cover you. But then the problem is that Christ has told us to go and do what? Do likewise. Like has he done for other people? Now, when you think about your own Christian life right now, who are you attending to? The same way Christ has attended to. Are we the priest? Are we the Levite? Or are we the Good Samaritan? It's not a sermon. I mean, it's not a Bible study. We'll get there after we have a second discussion. Now let's go to Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24. And we're going to open our Bible to verses 14. Matthew 24, verses 14. And somebody can read that for me. Matthew chapter 24, verses 14.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come.
All right. The Bible tells us now there is a gospel of the kingdom that must be preached unto all the world as a witness, and then shall the end come. I'm not going to go to the whole gospel. The gospel, we know the gospel, the 3 angel message, and all that different stuff. But there's a physical application to the 3 angel messages that is serving as a witness for all the world to see. Then that will bring the end of time. If you want Jesus Christ to return, the gospel we preach must be a practical gospel that other people could see the gospel in you, the life you live, the way you conduct yourself, the people you meet. Now think about that: the Pharisees, the priests, and the Good Samaritan. Who out of the 3? Who showed the gospel? The Good Samaritan. Why? Why just the Good Samaritan show the gospel? There was compassion, but there was something that people could see. With the belief system that he had, there was a practical aspect to the gospel that he preached. You could see the gospel. You could see that he gave money. You could see that he helped the person that was in need. You could see he used what he had to further the kingdom of God. Now, think about it. The Good Samaritan came back up with that guy that he did all that before. He trying to tell him about the love of God. You think that person won't be willing to listen? Now, the priest and the Good Samaritan come back to preach that guy. Who do you think that guy want to listen to? The Good Samaritan. Now the priest, the priest saw him. He left after the priest, and then the priest saw the guy dying. He walked.
He's like, I didn't see that.
You know what I'm saying? But the Good Samaritan guy, he saw that. He tended to his need. He addressed the person's need at the time that whatever the person was struggling with at that time. He tended to that need. And the Bible tells us that the gospel of the kingdom will be preached as a witness, and then shall the end come. Now let's go to Isaiah chapter 58. Isaiah chapter 58. And I want you guys to please pay attention. Don't get distracted. Isaiah chapter 58. Let's go from verses 6 to 11. 6 to 11. 58, 6 to 11.
Is not this the fast that I have chosen? To loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke. Is not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that thou cast out to thy house, when thou seest the naked that thou cover him, and thou hidest not thyself from thine own flesh, then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee, and the glory of the Lord shall be thy reward. And then shalt thou call, and the Lord shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, Here I am. If thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke, the putting forth of the finger, and speaking vanity, and if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry, and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall thy light rise in obscurity, and thy darkness be as the noonday. And the Lord shall guide thee continually, and satisfy thy soul in drought, and make fat thy bones. And thou shalt be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water, whose waters fail not.
Amen. God is telling us here the practical thing that we must do to show other people to change their need. He said to loose the heavy burden, to let the oppressed go free, to break the heavy yoke. It's not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and then I'll bring the poor that are cast out to thy house. All this is saying here is with the house of Israel, to the house of Jacob, showing the practical aspect of what they should be doing at the time. But they went to apostasy. That's not what they were doing. They put heavy taxation on the people. They did not help the poor. They did not tend to nobody's need. But they were waiting for the Messiah to come. They were waiting for the Messiah to come. And they were the chosen people of God. Are we as Seventh Adventists are following the same pattern? As we say, we call ourselves the remnant that is preparing for Christ's return, has fallen into the same condition as the ancient Israel. In Matthew chapter 25, let's go to Matthew chapter 25. Verses 35. Go start from the 34.
Jesus said unto him.
If we read that, let me read one more thing from the Bible commentary. The house of Jacob at the time of this warning was given to Isaiah appeared to be a very zealous people, seeking God daily. That was the people who were reading from Isaiah chapter 58. And delighting to know his ways. But in reality, they were filled with presumptuous self-confidence. They were not walking in the truth. Goodness and mercy and love were not practiced. Were presenting an appearance of sorrow for their sins. They were cherishing pride and avarice. At the very time when they were showing such outward humiliation, they would exact hard labor from those under them in their employ. They placed a high estimate on all the goods that they had done, but a very low estimate on the service of others. They despised the oppressed and the oppressed the poor, and their fasting only gave them a high opinion of their own goodness. That's what they were doing. But they were praying, saying, "Oh God, I'm praying. I'm doing all this. I'm praying for God to fill me with the Spirit to do this thing. I'm praying for this thing." But then there wasn't helping nobody else outside them. They was doing heavy taxation. And they pride themselves in the little that they did. They said, "Oh God, at least I did this," but while people around them still suffering, not caring. But in Matthew chapter 25, verse 34. And stop at 30, stop at 40.
Jesus said unto him, Verily I say unto thee, that this night before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. Peter said unto him, Though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise
Are you
also.
right? Please?
No.
No.
Matthew chapter 25, verses 34.
Oh snap! Sorry. Okay. Yeah.
It's already in the Bible.
Then
Bible
shall
right
the
there.
king then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come, ye blessed of my father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was an hungered, and ye gave me no meat, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee, and hungered, and fed thee? Or thirsty, and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger, and took thee in? Or naked, and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick, or in prison, and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Then shall he say unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels.
Mercy. This gospel of the kingdom shall be preached unto all the world as a witness. A witness, and then shall the end come. And a lot of times we ask, what is the witness? The witness is the three angels message saying Babylon is falling. But as you're saying Babylon is falling, as you get yourself prepared in prayer and supplication to God to remove sin from your life, I was hungry, and you fed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was in prison, and you visited me. I was sick, and you helped me. I was in need, and you was a good Samaritan unto me. It is one thing to say, I'm living the gospel. It is another thing to practice the gospel. Because what the Pharisees did, they say all the good stuff. They say the gospel. They say we have to get prepared for the end time, prepare for Jesus Christ's return. They say a good thing, but did not do anything. And many of us right now, we say we're ready for Christ to return. I want Jesus to return. I'm part of the remnant church. I'm part of the church that's going to see Christ return. Rick, pay attention. I'm part of the church that's going to see that Christ return. Right? But we're saying all this stuff, but there is no practical application to none of the stuff we're saying. People around us are still hungry. People around us are still sick. People around us are still coronavirus right now happening, guys. You know people that have lost their job? Many of us here are still working. How many people are practically trying to reach out to me help? But we want Christ to return. But we say, okay, I'm gonna pray for God to consecrate my life for Christ to return. Consecrate what? When Christ was asking, okay, I was naked. Did you clothe me? I didn't have nowhere to lay my head. Did you seek out to help me? I needed food to eat. Did you even reach out and say, am I hungry? Or are we like the Pharisees? We say stuff and do nothing. We say good stuff, good application, good practical stuff for the end time, but we don't do nothing. And one of the reasons why the whole idea of social justice is going on right now in the world as a big thing with the world, because God is saying, okay, that's showing the history of this nation. Christians in this nation see how the black are being oppressed in this country and say nothing and do nothing. Like the early church, like even Ellen White during her time, they were abolitionists. They were doing practical stuff to help oppress the burden of black people. As a result, she got sent away by the church to what? Australia. But she was doing practical stuff to oppress, to help alleviate the oppression of other people.
Yeah, the oppressed.
The oppressed. But then, we follow the church history, still, civil rights movement, Nathaniel. Now we come to right now, to the same issue right now. Our church is silent in regard to the whole issue. And as a result, God said, well, if the church is not going to do the work, I'm going to push it to the world. Now the world's now speaking for the church. Where the church should have been the one already speaking against these issues because those are sin issues. Because people are actually being oppressed by a system and the church is not saying nothing. But the church is saying, no, focus on the pre-angel message. Focus on the second coming of Christ as people are dying and people are leaving Christianity because of the lack of empathy from the church itself. There is no practicality, there is no practical work into the gospel. People are saying stuff and doing nothing. And people are saying, bro, like, I'm hungry. What do you mean Christ is returning? I'm hungry right now. How does that help me? I'm hungry. I can't eat. People say I can't breathe. The system is oppressing me. But do you hear the church say anything? The church is not saying it's silent. And we also, as people that know the truth, are silent. Are we the priest? Are we the Levite? Or are we the Good Samaritan? Now let's go to Matthew chapter 18. Matthew chapter 18. And we're going to go down to verses 10 to 14. Verses 12 to 14. We can do this from 10. Let's do it to 10.
Take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones. For I say unto you, that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. For the Son of Man is come to save that which was lost. How think ye, if a man have 100 sheep, and one of them be gone astray, does he not leave the 99, and goeth into the mountains, and seeketh that which is gone astray? And if so be that he find it, verily I say unto you, he rejoiceth more of that sheep than of the 99 which went not astray. Even so, it is not the will of your Father which is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish.
Now, do we think about these things? Like in the practical aspect of these things? Like the practical reality of these parables? God's saying that it is not his will that one of these little ones perish. God does not will that one person, one soul should perish. God plans to save the whole world. But God has to use somebody to help save the world. Now, think about it now. The one sheep that is lost, can there be any more lost? They already lost. They already lost. They can be more lost. Now, the 99 that are safe, can they be more safe? So why are we focused on the 99 and not the one that are lost? We already have 7 Adventists here. Good job. We all 7 Adventists. Can we be any more 7 Adventists? No, we can't. We already 7 Adventists. We're all Baptists in the church. We can be more into the truth, which is get closer to God. But we can't be more 7 Adventists. We're already 7 Adventists. We can't be any more 7 Adventists. But why are we focused on just 7 Adventists and not the lost sheep? Why is that every Sabbath we hear as a collective group, we come to have Bible study, study the Word with fellow 7 Adventists when there is sheep that are lost in the world that need to become part of us? Why are we always grouping here together when there's lost sheep that need to be part of this fold? The practicality of the gospel. Are we having phone conversations with people on the phone on a weekly to try to bring them to the fold? Are we reaching out to people to see, okay, what is your need to bring them to the fold? Or are we focused on the people that's already in the fold? Oh, you're in the fold, hey brother, good job. You hear that sermon was deep, man. But the end time is right there, man. The end time's coming. You hear that message, bro? The Pope about to do this right now. This is about to happen right now. Bro, you gotta get prepared. While all the lost sheep is still out there, you're just focusing on the 99. Because many of us already know the message. Some of us could get more understanding of the message. But many of us already know the message. Many of us already know about the mark of the beast, all this stuff. We've heard this message before. Some of us have to be consecrated and be anchored into the message. But we're only part of the fold. But how about the lost sheep? Who is going out there for that lost sheep and bring it to the fold? Or do we say, well, they lost, at least I'm part of the 99? If you have that mindset that they lost, you part of the 99, you're not part of the 99. You part of the lost sheep yourself. It's distorted. Part of your lost sheep that's from a little mile away that could see the 99, the fold, and looking at the fold, like, oh, this is a good fold. And you say, I'm here, but really you're not there. In your mind you're there, but in reality you're not there. And the parable of the shepherd goes out to search for one sheep, the very least that can be numbered. So if there had been one soul, Christ would have died for that one soul. That's not the lesson. If there was one soul that was lost, Christ would have died for one soul. So do we view everybody as that one soul that need to be part of the fold? Or do we say that we're part of the 99 and we focus on getting ourselves prepared for the second coming of Christ and forget the lost sheep? Are we the priest, the Levite, or the Good Samaritan? The shepherd who discovered that one sheep is missing does not look carelessly upon the flock that is safe house and say, I have 99. It will cost me too much trouble to go and search for the straying one. Let him come back, and I will open the door of the sheepfold and let him in. No sooner does the sheep go astray than the shepherd is filled with grief and anxiety. He count and recount the flock. So there's like supposed to be how many people here? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever the case may be. If there's supposed to be 20 people here, or if there's supposed to be 10 people here, or 15 people here, and then you count, right? And there's only 8. You're like, okay, where's the rest?
Yeah.
What is the rest? So you have to count the flock. You know what I'm saying? So let's continue. When he is sure that that one sheep is lost, he slumbers out, and he leaves the 99 within the fold, and goes in search of the strange sheep. The darker and the more temptress in the night, the more perilous the way. The greater is the shepherd's anxiety, and the more earnest his search to make every effort to find the lost sheep. The darkness the hour, the more temptress the night, the more perilous the way. The greater the shepherd's anxiety, and the more earnest his search. Do we believe right now we're in the 11th hour, and Christ's second return is very soon to come? If we believe we're in the 11th hour and that Christ is about to come very soon, are we in anxiety as the shepherd would be? Are we in search of those lost sheep? Do we not understand that we are in the darkest hour, that we know it is an urgent time for us to go and find those lost sheep? Are we comfortable in our situation? As we get ready to close out, let's go to Proverbs chapter 3. The jumbo.
27.
Not necessarily jumbo, but I know that's one of your chapters. Verses 5 and 6. Verses 4, 5 and 6. Go ahead, John. 3, 5, 6. Proverbs 3. This is 5 and 6.
Proverbs 3, 5 and 6. It says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths.
Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge what? Him. And as you acknowledge him, what he will do? He will direct your path. If you want to know what type of things you need to do to go find that one lost sheep, you go in prayer, ask God, help me to find that lost sheep. that only I can rescue as a shepherd. Because everyone has their own flock. And one of the reasons why people will be, especially as us that are in the church, our punishment will probably be more severe. Because we know the truth. We know that what we're supposed to be doing, and we're not doing it. And God will tell us, okay, about all these people you was responsible for. Why have you never reached out to these people for them to know the gospel? Why are your friends? Why is your family member? Why are they lost? That's why in Ezekiel chapter 3 tells us that you are the watchman in the house of Israel. If you see a sword coming and you do not warn the people of the wickedness to come upon the land, if those people are lost because you did not do your work, their blood is required at your hand. Because you should have been telling the people that it is the time for Christ's second return. This is the time for you to tend to their need and bring them to the fold. And do whatever it takes for you to bring them to the fold. That they may be found and be anchored with you in part of the fold. But are we doing that? Are we like the Levites? Are we like the priests? Or are we like the Good Samaritan? As we close, he said, thus in the night of spiritual darkness, God's glory is to shine forth through his church in lifting up the bowed down, and comforting those that mourn. All around us are heard the wail of a world's sorrow. On every hand are the needy in distress, and it is ours to aid in relieving and softening the life's hardship and misery. Now listen to this, guys. And all around us are the herds of wails of the world's sorrow. On every hand are the needy and the distress. On every hand. It is our aid in relieving and softening the life's hardship and misery. It is our duty as Christians to relieve the life's hardship and misery of other people. Just like the Good Samaritan did. Just like those people that's in Matthew chapter 25. I was hungry, you feed me. I was in prison, you visited me. I was all these things, and you helped me. The want of soul, only the love of Christ can satisfy. If Christ is abide in us, our heart will be full of divine empathy and seal, or the fountain earnest, Christ-like love will be unsealed. This is the call. There was another text. I'm not sure if I read it. If I read that one, it was. I'm gonna go back a little bit to what I read already, but it was a powerful thing for us to read. He said, "The lesson in no less is needed in the world today than when it is fell at the lips of Jesus Christ. Selfishness and cold formality have a well nigh extinguished the fire of love and dispel the grace that should make fragrant the character. Many who profess his name have lost sight of the fact that Christians are to represent Christ. Unless there is a practical self-sacrifice for good of others." Think about this. Unless there is a practical self-sacrifice of the goods of others in the family circle, in the neighborhood, in the church, wherever we may be, then whatever our professions, we are not Christians. That's what the prophet says. If you're not attending to people's needs, you are not a Christian. If you think people should attend to your need instead of you attend to other people's needs, you're not a Christian. A Christian tend to other people's needs, and as Christ attend to their need, because they are praying and have a relationship with Christ. The gospel of the kingdom, the social gospel. Are we like the Levite? Are we like the priest? Are we like the Good Samaritan? The question is yours. Let's bow our head for prayer. Dear most loving Father, Lord, indeed, Lord, it is a privilege, Lord, you have given us this Sabbath afternoon, Lord, to study your word. In studying your word tonight, Lord, we understand, Lord, our need, Lord, for not to be only hearers of the word, like the Pharisee word, but help us to also, as we hear, we do. Help us to understand the practical aspect of the gospel, that if you see somebody that is in need, let's just not fill our bank account with money, and as people around us are suffering and dying of hunger. Help us not to feel our worry about our own life, desire, and only worry about our own salvation, and forgetting about the salvation of other people. But help us to be like the good shepherd that understand, Lord, that there's people that part of the flock that is lost, and that will go out in the 11th hour to seek that which was lost, to bring them back into the fold. Help us, Lord, if we are weak, Lord, and we have struggled, we're struggling with this message, Lord. Help us that we might find strength, Lord, that we might understand our need, Lord. We may seek you in prayer, that you may put the desire in our heart, Lord, to reach out to other people, Lord, to reach out to people that are around us, to see when people tell us about their suffering, Lord, that we may tend to the suffering, and that we may also, Lord, try to bring people in, help them to know you for who you are, and teach them your word, and teach them the gospel, Lord. As we teach them the gospel, Lord, we also will tend to the practical need, Lord. And help us, Lord, to accomplish your work, Lord. Help us, Lord, to prepare for your second coming. Because until this gospel of the kingdom is preached to all the world as a witness, your end will never come. The same will be waiting for Christ to return. But unless we go out there and practice that gospel, that will never happen. The gospel is not practiced when we are sitting here in our comfort of our home. But the gospel is practiced when we are uncomfortable and going out there to tend to people need. And help us, Lord. We pray you earnestly, Lord. That because we're already, we pray you according to the church of Jesus Christ. And his blessed name we do pray. Amen.
We wanted to say thank you to everyone that participated in the service today. We are going to sing number 523 to end the service.
My faith has found a resting place, not in a man-made creed. I trust the ever-living one, that he for me shall plead. I need no other evidence, I need no other plea. It is enough that Jesus died and rose again for me. Verse 4. My great physician heals the sick, the lost he came to save. For me his precious blood he shed, for me his life he gave. I need no other evidence, I need no other plea. It is enough that Jesus died and rose again for me.
Please bow your heads for prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for everything you have done for us, Lord. You have watched over us, you have allowed us to spend a wonderful Sabbath weekend, Lord. Lord, we ask you that we use everything that we've learned today through your word that you sent to us, Lord, and to not only learn it, but to also share with others and to also practice the gospel, Lord. We ask you to heal our hearts, help us to care for our brethren, Lord, to help others and to also preach your word, Lord. God is protect us and let us have a wonderful Sabbath afternoon. In Jesus' name I do pray. Amen.
Amen.